I am sorry. I did not want to say anything until I was sure. I was on a secret mission by orders of Emperor Cain to monitor Fei. He ordered me to determine whether Fei would be a threat to the world or not. The contact. That is what the Emperor calls Fei.
We'll learn what that term means, but let's have a flashback to that moment, that final moment with Cain and Citan that he was mentioning to Jesse.
This is your conclusion?
Yes, Your Majesty. This is the answer that I chose myself.
You think you can do it?
It's a term. We'll explain later what it is.
Yes. Humans have the potential. Managers are no longer needed.
Okay, all 4 ball managers are gone.
Contact is not our enemy.
Yes. As you say, Your Majesty, if Fei is...
And I leave it up to you. So the Emperor was on our side all along? Huh.
Kinda.
I atoned for my crime by doing so. How ironic that the creepy man in the chair was actually a
We'll
good
need
guy.
to understand what this means in the grand scheme of things, but we're still way ahead.
Anonelbe, the long-awaited man of God, who will take the people born in this world with him to a new horizon.
The Ubermensch, so to speak.
Wait.
Such is the destiny of the contact. That is what the Emperor called Fei.
So he's Moses.
He did not tell me why he called Fei that, though. Wait, he didn't tell me why he had called that Fei, though? I think you screwed up there, Richard. He is Fei, but he is also the one who... Citan is so distraught he's kindling grammar. Destroyed Elru, caused Kar serious injury, sank the Yggdrasil, killed Rico's subordinates in Kislev.
It wasn't Red Rum, it was Id.
So Kar actually wasn't crazy.
Need I continue further? He is. It. Dun dun dun.
What do you say? Id?
Yes.
Get it?
What
Because
are you
it is like
mean?
part of the mind and all that.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get to that as well.
Fei, that is, as associated identity disorder. It's a good thing that I also have glasses so I can do this
Changes
gesture
his hair
too.
to red, apparently.
Also known more commonly as multiple personalities. Oh, okay, so dissociative identity disorder. Okay.
Yeah, this
It changes his face and hair color. What the heck?
Dissociative identity disorder. Got it. Or multiple personalities. See, I learned this in Split, so.
Shut up.
Is it a mental disorder where one person has... It is a mental disorder where one has multiple personalities. And it's apparently a real thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But again, last I checked, it doesn't change someone's hair
Don't
color.
worry, guys, all in due time.
But it is very real. Fei is living proof of it. I have been watching over Fei, who has a destroyer personality within him named... It. Dun dun dun.
Subtle.
In the beginning, he was stable. His dissociation did not occur at all while he lived in Lahan for all those 3 years. But then, after Lahan was attacked, things changed. Little by little, the number of incidences of his dissociation and their length began to increase.
Oh, there were more incidents.
And then at Solaris, a complete manifestation of id occurred.
What brought it about? It was fine when he was in line, right?
It usually comes from
about that.
trauma.
My guess is that the appearance of Graf affected Fei somehow.
Yep, sure.
How did you know his village was being attacked?
You probably know that Fei worked with Graf as the assassin id before he was brought to live in Lahan. And I'm putting id in quotations.
So this is why Graf's been doing this, to awaken id.
Yeah.
It was then that Elru, the homeland of Dominia, was utterly obliterated. Graf was intentionally provoking the manifestation of id within, for want of a better word, Fei.
For Fei would be in quotations as well.
For what purpose?
To destroy God. That is what Graf was saying. Well, this is a JRPG after all.
Love you, Graf.
That is all I know, although there might be more to it. But one thing is certain. Graf was encouraging the manifestation of id, but did not have adequate control over him.
Again, you will notice that it is kind of a loose cannon. In other words, it was too much for him to handle.
Yes.
So what, does Graf have this big bromance with it, and that's why he wants him back out?
No, although there might be more to it. What do you mean by that? Don't worry, Jova. Again, that too in no time.
I shall go on to explain that now. Actually, that is the most important point.
Oh, goody.
We
Story
transition
time.
back to that point in Solaris when you had a conversation. Who wants a reference to Silence of the Lambs?
There is nothing you can do.
You understand well, just as I expected, Citan. Or was it dark?
I have been wanting to meet you, Id. I wanted to talk to you. I guess it is all due to this machine which cuts the nerve connections. Anyway, what is Fei doing as of now?
Sleeping.
Fei? Which Fei do you want?
Mean, there is more than one? Id?
I asked you a question.
The one you call Fei is asleep.
Sleeping?
When I am awake, he sleeps.
I'm sure he has wonderful dreams.
That is why he has no memory of what I do.
Why does he not know?
It's obvious. He's my subordinate. He cannot peer into my memories. He should not in actuality even exist. That man forcibly created his personality. She is a tenant in the room of cowardice.
That man?
Our father, Khan.
Khan!
He sealed up my personality in the deepest recesses of my consciousness. Through some inexplicable reason, that is when the present Fei was born.
So Id was the original Fei?
When you said cowardice, what did you mean?
Why ask about him? You think you can do something?
Well, he is a
Follow this
doctor.
line.
It is rare to be able to talk to a real schizophrenic.
It's
Okay.
rare to be able
Hold
to...
on.
As a scholar, I am extremely
Very
intrigued.
professional, Citan.
Uh,
Hold on. With friends like you. Hey, doctor.
Hey,
I'm
hey.
wondering if you're part of the reason why Fei has these
I like
problems.
you, Citan, but he's insignificant. After all, he's just a failure. A coward like him does not deserve to be Fei's existence. A pathetic one who has always fled from reality. He never did one thing against me when I controlled him. A coward who refused to leave. He should have been erased, but he continues to exist. Why won't he disappear?
Maybe you're the fake.
It makes my skin crawl just being in the same body as him.
Let's change the subject.
Okay.
I would like to know how and why your personalities were split. You see, I'm writing a paper on your disease. Since you are the one in control, I would assume you would know the story. Normally, personalities do not split as they did with you.
Yeah, people do not gain superpowers with that.
Unless there was some sort of past trauma. Has anybody here seen Split?
You want me to talk about my memories? Don't misunderstand. I haven't given you the right to question me.
Well, it's not
Just
like...
because I'm held down by this machine, don't push your luck.
Damn it, I was
need
about
me
to
to
pose that as my
explain this.
argument.
If I really wanted to, I could break the restraints and crush you. Don't you forget it.
Well,
Just that awesome.
then why not do it? Well, I was literally about to say that.
Ooh, challenge.
Shall I tell you why? You do not have complete control over Fei, do you?
Ooh, burn.
Your control of him is incomplete. To break those bonds would require a tremendous amount of mental energy. Having used up your energy, Fei would return again. Basically, you would have to leave the stage. Obviously, the day you would be able to return is indeterminate, hence you will not do it. Am I mistaken?
So you know me too well. I don't have complete.
What is wrong, Id?
You forced me on stage. He's waking. Under normal circumstances, I would have been able to hold on. But I can't. This is all that woman's fault. Their existence makes Fei resistant.
Oh?
You mean Elly. The power of Boner makes it possible.
That woman. The save. Everyone must eliminate. Alright,
Damn it, I've been defeated by the power of
to read
love.
it as Neil Breen.
I do not understand. I do not understand it.
Why would you kill yourself, Ed?
You don't need to understand.
Oh, there you go.
When the time comes, just take it as it comes. Reality and death.
You're fun at
I'll
parties.
eventually get you. Be seeing ya. So, lots to unpack with this one, I know.
The emotional portion of Fei's present personality was sealed up by his father through some
So
method.
it wasn't amnesia, it was a complete new personality.
And now, with the
to
cleared
boot.
foundation of id's personality in computer form, it is like constructing a mock personality on top of the compatible portion of the operative system.
I wonder if Id is implying that he was the original Fei
Don't
and
worry,
that
Joe,
our
I'll tell
Fei...
more at the end of the part.
That is the reason Fei has no memory of his past. Those 10 or so years of memories are under the supervision of id. As long as id does not willingly hand over the memories, there is no way for Fei to know, since he did not even exist before the time id was sealed up.
Huh.
The present Fei's personality is an underdeveloped one which was built upon within the 3 years of living in Lahan, studying and acquiring other people's reactions.
Oh my god, this is 7.
Hence, he does not know how to fully cope with sudden of emotional circumstances. Elly, you are the one who has spent the most time with Fei, so I would assume you would understand this. Were there not times when he would be psychologically unstable?
Like an emotional outburst.
For example, he would be manically depressive and then have sudden fits of rage.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, now allow me to continue
Quite a lot,
explain.
actually.
No, allow me to continue explaining.
Cool.
Then his present personality is about only a temporary one.
That is not what I am saying. The present Fei is one single personality, and no, Emerald, he is not Ken. It is just that structure-wise, his personality was constructed on top of ids, hence placing Fei at a lower hierarchy. That is why when id is active, Fei has no recollection of it.
Then that means he might eventually be overtaken by id.
Yes. Yes, if it were only id in Fei, but that does not seem to be the case.
There's somebody else in home.
Id only manifests when Fei's mental energy is in a weakened state.
But what if we got him in a powered state?
It is a mystery in itself that the lower level personality of Fei has any control over the upper level personality of id. It is obvious that there exists a third personality. Id calls this existence the coward. The Bruce Banner, if you will. In my
The super
observation,
ego, yes.
in my observation, this coward may be the fundamental personality of Fei. In other words, id's manifestation is not controlled by Fei,
So neither of them are the original.
but is controlled by the personality known as the coward.
Then that means what?
At the same time, id resents this coward, he also obviously fears it. From a certain point of view, this coward is the one assisting in keeping the present Fei in control. I do not know the reason why this third personality, Fei's fundamental personality does not come out.
Oh gee, he has such great company waiting for him.
If this one awakens, it will become one with id. In other words, there is a possibility that the complete original personality may be restored.
Oh my god, this is
Is
7!
that for sure?
Yes. Probably, but I do not know how to awaken it.
7 really did just refine this plot.
Before I had the opportunity, id disappeared and he has since been since. Basically, as long as nothing happens to Fei that would challenge his existence, Fei can be himself. But his surroundings do not allow him that opportunity.
Definitely.
It would be best for him to live in a place that is peaceful.
We don't
That's
really
not
have
gonna
that
fucking
luxury.
happen
Yeah,
in
we
this
don't really have
world.
that luxury right now.
There, that's the last.
At this point, we'll need to take him on for anyway, Dwibs. Remember.
Unfortunately, the higher-ups in Shevat have other ideas in mind.
And then Citan, sorry.
That is I can. No, the Dark One. Graf second advent. We must restrain and seal him up, otherwise we don't know what may occur.
Oh yeah, that'll do great, I'm sure. Cease this at once, Dwibs. I'm Zephyr. May we at least wait for Wiseman to return before we make any resolutions?
Hello, tactician. Why do you place so much importance on him? I've been silent all this time since Khan's death, since he was directly recruited by the Queen.
Dun dun dun!
However, I question why you would use such a person whose principle lacks any understanding of sacrifice.
Well, that is...
You must look at reality, the existence of good power.
Hold on. What's this Graf's second advent?
The day of the collapse was brought upon by Graf. Graf manipulated Diabolos into destroying this world. And that power within it is far too similar to Graf's. We cannot allow such a hazard to be set free. We ought to immediately freeze him in carbonite, otherwise expect the worst at any moment.
Oh, yeah, that always works out well.
No, but isn't the present Fei the real Fei?
Meanwhile, Citan's like, there, that's the last of the bloody exposition, thank you very much. And everybody claps.
If only.
If that's the case, then why...
But it's still far too dangerous. Think about it. He
Oh, yeah.
single-handedly annihilated the Solaris capital. We can't set him free.
Oh yeah, chain him up and treat him like an animal.
Not
That'll
only
make
that,
things
In the
better.
past, there were countless other cities that were destroyed by aid. I don't know their intentions, but Graf and Kralian were always involved somehow. And one of those incidents was Elro, hence the title Demon of Elro. It was Domania's homeland. Swari's purging of the rebellion Sea of Elro was done through the use of aid to test its capabilities. As a result, not only was Elro taken down, all the Solaris units present were wiped out, and Ramsus was traumatized as shit by that.
And now Solaris has been dragged down to the ground. He's responsible for the Iggs and R.
So he was the one who killed my subordinates in the sewers.
What's wrong with you all? Aren't we supposed to be his friends?
Well, I kind of barely even talked to him, so I'm just... I don't know. It appears everyone else is in agreement. The risks are just too great.
You're just a great help, aren't you, Citan?
Citan? No, that is terrible.
There you go.
It is decided then. He will be scheduled for carbon freezing tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah,
The lights!
Yeah,
Who turned
unfortunately-
the lights?
aside from Queen Zephyr, the rest of the higher ups in Shevat are basically the Kryptonian council. I heard about it from Doc. Yid. Who would have ever thought within me lies another me?
It's okay, Faye.
but you're the same Fei I've always known.
God, they put him in a cage? Do you
Yeah.
want this guy to go crazy, morons?
You return to your old self. Please don't be obsessed with it. What is
Just
that?
don't think about it. A music box.
I like
Yeah.
how they're like, oh, we need to keep him in a less stressful situation, shove him in a cage.
You see, I'm the
Jesus.
second advent of Graf, the one who destroyed all of his world. Seems that Graf used to be a land dweller named Lacan.
Huh.
Where have you heard that before?
You're not
Huh.
thinking about what they're saying.
Also, what a shock. All this time it wasn't Solaris that were the big bads, but a land dweller.
They're just confused by your powers.
They fear what they don't understand.
Graf called me the one who will destroy God.
That's
In
kind
a
of cool.
way, I can understand what he means now.
Faye has
So-
Though my eat power isn't good enough, if it has the same quality as Graf's,
You could defeat Graf.
Let's escape.
It's all part of the plan. We'll go on the run.
Well, to where?
Somewhere that's peaceful, so we can take a break.
If Grapple the Wall brings out id, let's go to a place where no wars exist.
So if I
to
Superman
Earth.
4...
The afterlife.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
If you did that, you'd be...
Look, buddy, we are beyond fugitives at this point.
That's alright. I don't have a place to go back either.
True, I suppose.
My parents are dead. I have nothing to
And
lose.
even
Okay.
your house
Hey,
has been destroyed.
Ellie,
Yeah.
welcome to the club. Bart's
Yeah.
parents are dead. Rico's parents, well, okay, his mother's dead. His father's
Thanks,
just...
Ellie, but no. Even if I left the battlefield, there's no guarantee that it will never appear again. And unfortunately, we don't really have therapists in this world. Besides, I tried to kill you. You're still okay with that?
She tried to kill you, and you're okay with her.
Then you could have killed me if you really wanted to, right?
Yes.
The other you, its powers, nothing like that. But you still didn't go through with it.
Is this the power of love, truly?
You knew when it was enough. Isn't that because your will was in effect? If you're to be controlled by id, and all those around you became your enemies.
You already are.
Yeah, they're gonna freeze you. By the way, I'd still be by your side because I know it's lonely to be by yourself.
Okay, for as much crap as I've thrown at the game, moments like these are
Not
actually
just
good for the
that,
story.
okay, that will be questioned also later, but I can assure you that the way the game treats the love story, because at this point it's but pretty obvious that it is, between Fei and Ellie, is generally charming enough. Although it's giving some weird flashbacks to him. I wonder still what that means.
Were they perhaps husband and wife back in the day?
I'll open it now. Let's go, Faye.
These characters are young, Jova. They really haven't lived for all those eons.
Yeah, I'm familiar with anime on the whole. We're much older than we actually look to be.
Again, Jova.
Well, Faye does remember Ellie.
Ellie.
He ran away from Ellie when he first met her.
Yep.
And he was painting her at some point.
Exactly.
Well, that wasn't Ellie, supposedly.
Supposedly.
Keeping my mouth shut.
Anyway, let's escape.
Does Ellie also have DID?
Well,
Maybe.
If Solly, I forgot actually who he is. I
Remember,
think it's
there
either
was that
Bart or Citan.
There was that
Oh, it's
flashback of
Citan.
Ellie
Okay.
apparently going crazy and killing all those people.
It's no use trying to stop me.
Again, we also noticed that they seem to have similar quirks. Hold on.
Even if it is you, if you get in my way, I'll have no choice but to.
Cheatin' boss fight, cheatin' boss fight, cheatin' boss fight.
I wish. Hello?
Oh, sorry. There is no way for Ellie to speak. I just came here to see you off.
Citan,
Fuck you.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I refueled Veltal. You're ready to go anytime.
Yeah, I have to warn you already. The game does contain the one or two moments of a very outdated dialogue in terms of women.
Dang it, Citan. I was just complimenting.
But
Every
Ellie,
time we have something nice to say about him, he goes back and shoves it in
Hold
our
on.
faces.
you cannot use your gear.
Yeah, it's under repairs.
What? Then what am I? We just gonna walk?
You know that Omni gear. What if you borrow it?
The one from Shevat. Unfortunately, it's only been referenced a couple of times.
So
way.
that ends up being Ellie's.
I can't take Shevat's property without permission. At this point, Faye.
Ellie is the
fuck
only
cares?
Ellie is the only appropriate person for the gear. Nobody else can operate it.
Ah.
Is this Ellie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Never. I won't ride it, ever.
Well, where is this coming
It will
from?
become apparent
here's,
also
context.
later. And there's also more context to that too. Ellie, what's wrong?
Hmm.
I'm so scared. That's why I'll never want to do it.
Let's escape from here. Oh, there's only one ship. No, I don't want to do it.
No, it's not for this. It's for piloting that specific gear, Dweebs. Again, it will actually be explained properly why later.
Can we just take the bus?
This is a problem.
Whoever had a bus that flies.
How
I
about if...
forgot who
how-
it is. I think it was
sorry.
Bart. Everyone.
Oh, you're all okay.
This,
Yes, we were
Rico.
all along. Sorry, Pei. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no kidding. Rico is not present for this scene.
Sorry.
Also, hi, Margie.
silly tail.
Oh yeah, I'm in the game.
Silly tail. Rico doesn't exist anymore.
Thanks, everyone.
Now, I know you hate to leave, but we should get going before dawn.
Yeah, these people may be in for a rude awakening.
I did some work on the radar, so it should work fine.
Why do I get the feeling Queen Zephyr may have helped out a bit with this too?
They have left.
Yeah, someone wanted to break news to Emeralda.
Where?
So-
Oh no, Emeralda.
Sorry, Emeralda. Fei lost his Kim. They went far away.
I go.
She has her own personal gear after all. But unfortunately, no.
That's my father, you
Meanwhile,
assholes! Let him
ministry
go.
time.
Oh boy.
Yes,
who
you
goes
go
first?
first.
Code, making a ridiculous setup with Hugo.
It was.
He certainly has his deficiency compared to our digitized existence,
Oh, shut up.
which permits us to use a higher level of logical thinking.
Java,
He is restricted by his human form.
Pedro,
Regardless, with just one machine, he annihilated Etrenank.
Etrenank, yes.
His powers must not be underestimated.
Edge,
We're already short of time. The key. Use the key.
Even you are beginning to feel the pressure.
Well, our society kind of got crash landed, so yeah.
Yeah, turns out I'm here too.
Waveso,
Brilliant. What is Cade's situation?
The usual life extension treatment. He'll hold out for a little longer.
Does that mean we may not make it in time?
Did you lose your breath, Krillin? I wouldn't know. You spoke of using the key. Can you be sure he can be eliminated?
Java,
You know who he is.
Edge,
If he is the contact, then there's a possibility he may transmit.
Transmigrate, Dweebs,
It's an organism composed of multiple generations. It's a matter of probability.
That does not mean we can just remain idle.
Java,
Yes, at this rate, we are bound to make the same mistake, but we can't fail a second time.
Well, don't worry. I've sent Ramses to deal with him.
Yes, Ramses will solve the case.
What kind of failure like him do that cut?
Yeah, there you go.
He couldn't even defend Etrenank the Bloodhound.
Even if he has the Anima Relic.
That sounds dangerous.
The relic will recover before he has been aligned with his gear. There shouldn't be any problems now. He should be able to use his full power.
But won't that drive him insane?
You're going to take the task yourself? Although he sounds migrated, wasn't he once one of you? I don't understand.
it's a bit different, Java.
I'm a complicated guy. I've thrown away all feelings of human emotion. All I need is her.
Java,
But isn't that an emotion?
Of course. Of course.
Is that a...
Wonder.
You are irritating. Do you wish to seize your existence?
Edge.
Fine, we shall leave it at that.
Very good.
Ramses is not about to have drive. His gear is about to get a proper upgrade as well with that animal relic that was mentioned. Go ahead, Pedro.
Oh, sorry. Yes, this is the place. She is an important woman to me. Sorry.
Don't be ridiculous. Why do I have to listen to you? If you need her, go get her yourself.
You're quite right. But can you say the same thing after looking at this?
This is...
Your gear and the Anima Relic have been aligned. This is the Omni-Gear. Now, she is with Fei now.
Wait, the Omni-Gears are she?
No.
What?
Losing those battles against Fei again and again. I believe it's because of the difference in the performance of the gears. I think you'll be able to use 100% of its abilities.
Without the apostrophe,
100% of its abilities.
So how about it? However, if you still fail with this, you are truly trash. Ramses, will you go?
The way these people switch when they
Chewie.
talk sometimes is
Oh, sorry, that's you.
Ka, are you going?
Can you people just give me a moment to think?
I'm sick of this shit.
Yes, I must get rid of him with my own hands.
Be careful. I believe in you, or
Is Ramses gonna
what the others say.
Yeah, no
Thank you for your
Shiro.
vote of
Miyagi's
confidence.
pretty much not caring at
It's
this
right-
point.
Yeah, I
in the time,
know.
Gee, thank you for your vote of confidence.
Is Ramses
You're
gonna?
welcome.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Hey, what a loathsome name. I've worked my way up on my own, but he ruined it again.
I'll
Yeah,
get.
he literally sent
I'll-
that entire colony just crash into the ground. Huh? That signal.
I'll get you next time, Faye.
It's him. I am not trash. I am not
Gear is dead.
I am coming for you!
Omni-Gear. And according to the readings...
I
Don't remember he's over
I can see
9,000.
on this pane of
Oh
glass.
no, it's that whiny little bitch. It's clearly different from the one Bart's using, or the one in Shevat.
Your day of reckoning is coming!
Did he
I'm
not
not
die in the
sorry.
explosion? What?
He's too stubborn to die.
You think it's
You think it's the perfect gear?
I'm not
You think
sorry.
it's the...
I'm not
What?
trash.
Gear?
Sorry.
Remember what Citan said.
That's no way
He
to
says a
talk
lot.
to that's
So,
no way for a lady to talk.
He said that the Omni-Gears are controlled by mental waves.
He mentioned
Yes.
that while Bart
Yeah.
was getting Elanvari.
Yeah. he
His
did.
anger literally sustains him.
I
Yeah,
wonder if Id's gear is going to be essentially Faye's Omni gear.
we'll see, Drova.
Power. The potential varies depending on the rate of synchronism. The numbers indicate complete synchronization. His hate
Got
boner
it!
for you is that strong.
So we need to play a
Man,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
literally
5D.
too angry to
I'm not.
Sorry. Slow. Too slow.
Yeah, sorry.
They're
that
catching
was
up
also
with...
me.
Your performance is sad! I knew you'd be here.
Ramsus?
End of a line, Faye. Turn Lieutenant Elham over to me, Faye.
What? Why do we have to turn Ellie over to you?
You are
Oh,
in violation of
it's
so many
the
laws.
Tranian's idea, isn't it?
Hey,
don't
you're
think
starting to
so.
get with the
You
program.
can't expect me to comply.
I can take her by force if you wish.
Seriously.
But then, don't ever expect to be able to hold her in your arms ever again! I'm going to
And
cock
there
her.
it is. Hold on.
Hey,
He's
It's-
gaining on us!
Don't worry, I'll protect you.
Impressive words. Faye, I intend to take everything away from you.
So, yeah.
Even your hair!
Ramsus' new upgraded gear is called the Vendetta, appropriately, means vengeance. And unfortunately, this is basically a scripted series, it's not even a battle.
This is your final warning. Hand over Lieutenant Elham now!
I refuse dramatic George posing.
Are you sure you want to refuse me? It'll be too late for you to change your mind later.
Stop your stupid boast.
Well then, I'll have to show you if I'm boasting or not. And I am totally not. So be it. No holding back. No holds barred. This time, I will prove my superiority.
Bring it on, trash heap.
Ouch.
I'm not trash.
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry.
Come on. What poor form? What's wrong, Fei? Need your mommy? In the presence of my vendetta, your Patel is but only an infant. Incredible! This undeniable difference in power! I will be the top gamer on the scoreboard! Are you watching this? At this rate, and with this power, I can defeat him! I will be the top smasher!
I am not trash. I am not trash.
You're trash.
I'm not a cop.
Ramses, listen, I surrender.
Ellie,
Pathetic dialogue.
Ellie, how about you first wait before we see if we are indeed in trouble before you surrender?
Please stop attacking us this instant. Listen,
This is
Faye,
like-
it's getting pathetic.
What are you saying? You do that.
It will all have been for naught.
It is me he wants. Can't drag you into danger just over me. He willingly jumps into danger over you.
Yeah.
Like, he'll just follow him.
Pretty much.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah, what Ellie said.
Weird
Stop
voice
attacking
line there for a
Ramses.
bit.
It's a Japanese voice actress.
If I'm what you want, then just take me.
Crazy.
Oh
At
my.
this point, Ramsus is literally drunk on power.
Yeah.
Win! I can win! I am not the worst one!
You know, the more you
Ramsus, can't you hear us?
you know,
Can't hear you for all my winning!
He's lost himself in the overwhelming power of the gear of his.
you know, Ramses.
Gear of his.
You know, Ramses. The more you say it, the less convincing it is. Just saying.
We had better run.
Wait. I surrender. Run!
It's over for you, Fei Fong Wong! Prepare to meet thy doom!
Damn.
Just die already!
With
Robot
his
looks like
signature
a
attack, Mega Flare. Jesus!
this robot looks like a golden firebrand. Whoa.
Ellie screams too.
Yeah.
I am not the worthless one. You see it, Mother? I truly am worthy! Huh? I've even taken out the lieutenant too!
Oh shit.
Damn, I forgot my orders. Oopsie. Oh well, to hell with Crowley's orders.
And then, Jova,
Fair enough.
Jova, and then when he reports to Krelian, you're unskilled, untrained, unworthy.
Well, you know what? At least this is a good day for Ramses.
Bleeding won't stop.
And before you say it,
Please don't
sorry.
change. At this rate, Ellie's not gonna make it.
Wait a minute, we're in the forest again.
It's not the same. Ellie, hang in there. Ellie, I'll save you, I promise. With a lot of blood.
Ooh, that
Ellie!
doesn't look good.
All the while, Graf silently watches from the shadows because he's just a cut of a Tom Peeper.
Jesus Christ, Graf, there's a time and
If this is
place.
what he gets off to, then fair enough. Like,
And with that, Disc 1 actually ends.
she's fine.
So again, that some questions be answers, others will have to be wait, others too will have to be more expanded upon.
I'll just say this.
Yes.
I'm really starting to get what you mean about how Final Fantasy VII took ideas from this plot
Yeah.
and eventually incorporated it into itself.
Not even that. Let me elaborate a bit onto what the Citan basically said. Essentially, like I did for Shadow the previous time you guys have asked, yes, every time Faye had one of those outbursts, that was literally because the new personality that he has is literally just 3 years old. Aside from the core information that makes him technically still an adult, emotionally speaking, is still a bit, very unstable. Yeah, unexperienced, not necessarily a kid, Jova, but more unexperienced at that. But as such, he has the social skills of a potato, like I mentioned. He doesn't understand sometimes the obvious, like with Citan, and occasionally he gets those emotional outbursts, like again with Elly or with Bart, as we have seen, all that angst early on. And as such, he's also not amnesia the one that he suffers. That personality was just born. So what happens to the rest of the past, the one that Citan currently speculate about? That's what we'll need to learn more later, exactly how Id came to be, why Fei is the way it is, and if there's something more to it or not at that point. But other than that, yes. The stage now is set like this. While Fei and Elly are not exactly as fugitive, that plot point is kind of gonna get resolved very quickly, if you ask me. For good justification, mind you, but you'll be able to see. Most of Solaris is being destroyed, but that just means that now the war is essentially open. So these two will essentially consist of the consolidation of the plot points that we have. More revelation on the front until we get the full truth behind all just what the fuck is going on. Because again, surprisingly enough, the flying city of flying Nazis is not the ultimate revelation of the truth of his world and everything.
God, for fuck's sakes.
There are still a lot of things that for someone who played this the first time, still escape their grasp. All those weird coincidences. What do they mean as well? But before we move on, any other questions?
I just want to point out that since you said that it's hard for Fei to understand Citan, to be fair, no one can get that guy.
Oh no, that's true. But we got that moment in Solaris where Citan really failed a diplomacy check, and Fei still bought it.
That's the thing, Dej. Like I said in the previous part, one of the big reasons for that is because the way he's written is very inconsistent. Sometimes he seems caring, sometimes he's uncaring, sometimes he's an asshole, sometimes he's nice. It's just there's a reason between being intentionally complex and being sloppily complex.
Okay, now I will ask this though. So now we do at least get an idea of why Fei could be a little bit thick in the head here and there. So I will say this. I do think that this is a good explanation. What I do question is the length of time it took for us to get to this point. Well, okay, I'll start with you two. I'm guessing you're pretty much fine with the length of time it took us to get to it?
Like I said, there are, not necessarily for this plot point, but in general for Decaying, there are still things that are, missing, plot points that are missing. But overall, like I said, ever since the start of Act 3, I was hooked up, and at this point, I was hyped to see what was going to happen.
I'll admit, I'm definitely hyped to see it too. And now that we have gotten to it, that's actually a good explanation for why he was like this in certain ways here and there.
I can warn you, not necessarily a warning, but I have to tell you on this. I don't think it's the case, but considering your reaction to also stuff like the previous part, I have to warn you. There will be one or two other particular scenes that will not question, but, put Elly in an inconsistent kind of way, in a sense that it might appear she's yet again another dumbass in distress. But that judgment will have to be reserved for when it becomes relevant later.
Sure. Well, you haven't said your thoughts on the whole
what has happened
on the whole parents thing and Elly's pointing a gun sort of thing. What do you think of this whole thing?
It's more ridiculous than anything. I really didn't feel much for it, which is not what the writers wanted.
I can get what you mean. It's a big high-octane moment that's happening amongst a sea of big high-octane moments. Let's keep in mind, at this point, we had gotten a big revelation about Citan, a big revelation about Solaris, a big revelation about Fei, which will later be followed up by yet another big revelation, and yet between all that, that's when Elly's parents die.
Not only that, we really didn't know them that long, which didn't really help.
It's the Maria problem all over again. I guess, okay, now granted, unlike Maria, I do feel like there will be more to Elly's arc, but still, it feels weird to have her parents in there and have them die like that. And it's a lot more personal than the village dying with Fei because, well, there's a lot of focus put on these two characters. Let me put it like this. A village dying, that's a lot easier to make into a tragedy even if you don't know all the people because it is a huge amount of loss of life. I'm not saying that any death can't be tragic. What I'm saying is, like, well, to equivalent the tragedy of that when you're doing it with, say, way less people, in which case this was like 2 people, Elly's his parents, it needs to be done a bit more thoroughly. Let me put it like this. Let's say we just got to know Aerith, and then literally right as we're leaving Midgard, Sephiroth comes out of nowhere and stabs her from behind. Suddenly, the impact of that death wouldn't mean as much, now would it?
Okay, not sure if it's on the same extent, but what you're essentially, thinking about is instead dying.
Well, okay, Dawn was a side quest, to be fair. I mean,
really, it's part of the main plot, but it's crucial for Barrett's character development, and we only learn about him, technically speaking, only a couple of minutes before he kills himself.
I could have sworn Dawn was a side thing, but okay. Assuming that he is part of the main story in that regard, then to give Dawn credit here and there, Dawn felt more like he was part of the culmination of Barrett's whole thing with Marlene, essentially, as opposed to him being like this big focus of stuff. Oh, mind you, he was a critical element, but he's treated more like an element than this big, super-duper important character who everything absolutely revolves around. Whereas with Elly's parents, I don't know, something about it feels like the game definitely wants us to care a hell of a lot more. Whereas with Dawn, it felt kind of a bit more of a foreclosure. Now, if they were trying to get us to care for Dawn as much, that may have been an issue, but it felt like it was more the culmination of Barrett's arc with Marlene, which is why I don't complain about that one as much, per se. Also, again, that one wasn't surrounded by a crap ton of things going on at some point here. That's the thing. Out of all the things that happened today, Elly's parents feel like more like a drive-by killing, sadly.
This is why I don't really have much of a connection to that. I know that puts on the other problem in a sense that then why did it happen in the first place? And I kind of agree. Like I said, I could have easily been without it and say that Elly was orphan on her own anyway.
We would have missed nothing by, not including that.
It is important to establish Shiri how they look like, what was their role in Solaris, and the fact that Elly is still their biological daughter, despite not apparently inheriting their physical genes.
Again, I hate to say it, this is one of those few times where I actually considered if it may have been better if Elly's parents had essentially just died when the army took them away to really strike in the sense of weight that the government can hold, essentially making them disappear, per se, in that regard.
It's also because, sadly, part of that kind of rescue happens off-screen, like the whole party, managing to get free from the restraint thanks to Citan, and Hammer managing to get Elly's parents. So there is that, too.
There's also, like I said in the last part, there's also the thing of, and I know it wasn't supposed to be a joke, but we had over an hour of Elly just repeating mother and father over and over again.
I was the first to make it notice because I knew someone would have noticed that regardless, so might as well actually have said it.
And I know that, she's panicking and it's all she can think about. I get that, but it got ridiculous to a point where, I should not have been laughing during their death scene, and I was, so...
And as you can imagine, it wasn't a problem of localization. The original script, since it's just a single word, it's easy to guess that the original script is like that as well, Tosa and Casa, But anyway, anything else?
I was going to ask, actually. Well, yeah, I might as well ask you, Dej.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the whole thing? I know that you know something else, but the others do not at this point, so please be contained in your answer.
I am. This one's pretty interesting. I'm curious on how everything unfolds. Fei being the other personality of someone did catch me off guard. I feel like Xenoblade probably took that concept for something.
Yeah.
I'm just more confused about those guys and that globe thingy.
The
Didn't we pretty much
Soul
establish that
9000,
those are essentially like, components of Kane's personality or something?
No, the Soul 9000 were actually not reincarnations, but part of the ministry that were at some point the physical bodies perished. So in order to save themselves, they saved their own personalities as chips inside that giant sphere, the Soul 9000 system. And now essentially coordinate things alongside Kane. Kane has a physical body, but as Citan said, he has been kept alive by that system for 10,000s of years. Weirdly enough, a reference to Warhammer 40k in a time where it wasn't nearly as popular as it is now. So I wonder how much popular it is in Japan for someone like Takahashi knowing about this stuff, because it's a very specific reference, mind you.
Dwibs.
Yeah?
There was something I wanted to ask. So now that we know the reason about why Fei was acting, in ways that annoyed you, how do you feel about it story-wise? Given how, I'll admit, I feel like it's a good explanation. My question is, how do you feel about the length of time it took us to get to this point?
I'll be honest, it's a combination of that, plus all the crazy stuff that's been happening in the last few parts alone. At this point, I'm just kind of done with everything.
I would say that we still should see it through to the end. Like, honestly, I'd say things have gone...
I'm not saying no, but I'm really struggling to really care about any of it at this point.
Is it, so would you say it's a matter of just how much everything is mashed together, like how I mentioned how it feels
it's like, it is. I mean, I know Pedro, I know Pedro made a comparison earlier, but, to me, it is kind of like Azran Legacy, except the only difference is this is one game compared to wrapping up three before it.
I really don't see a parallel to begin with, to be honest.
He's talking about the pacing of it, basically.
Yeah, the pacing.
I really did not have a problem with that either.
Especially near the end, it just goes by way too fast.
All right.
That's my main issue.
All right. One more small thing to add to what Joel was saying. Yes, like he said, he correctly guessed. Fei's idea that the protagonist that we controlled for the most part, not always, but for the most part until this point, is not who he seems to be, but there was something else shenanigans going on, is something that Final Fantasy VII will be inspired and used as a plot point. Although in this case, it's not a case of what we believe could be a clone, genetically engineered, but in this case, a literal case of multiple personalities that just so happens to have a superpower evil side. Let's just say Mr. Hyde to a Dr. Jekyll, for lack of a better term. Why?
So can we maybe get...
We will get an explanation on why exactly Fei, when changing personality, becomes, as the Dark Kid put, an 80s X-Men villain. We'll get an explanation to that. But for those who have been observant when I did notice, the explanation would also bring another similarities, one that I did notice when we got to a point in Deadly Premonition. So that will also be explained in this too. But I have to warn you right now, this too is also where the constraints in time and budget will start to finally show their ugly heads, technically speaking. You thought that the stuff that was cut from the time being was detrimental. You're about to see full force. Not immediately, because it kind of works slowly, but you'll be see. So, for your audience, unless you're watching this in the future with the playlist, you're going to have to endure a bit of a small break. You're going to jump from one sci-fi to another in the meantime, so we're going to keep you company. And no, I'm not talking about Marco's Magic Football, don't worry. But when we'll come back to you, you'll be able to start to see the events of these two in full force and what awaits for our characters, good and bad.
Also, we released that game, Square Enix, you cowards.
Yeah.
Yeah.